This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, angry locals gather in Matoda to sign a petition to remove a hazardous substance from their town. A Christchurch man is celebrating after clocking up an impressive swimming achievement. And the first phase of demolition making way for Dunedin's new hospital is set to start next week. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Simon Anderson. Around 100 angry locals gathered in Matoda yesterday to launch a petition. It urges the government to remove the Ovea premix dumped in their town by any means necessary. New Zealand First List MP Mark Patterson started the petition as he wants to keep the issue in the public eye.
Laurel Turnbull, spokeswoman for the Sort Out the Dross action group, became the first to sign a petition yesterday calling on the government to remove the potentially toxic Ovea premix from its current storage in Matora's former paper mill. Turnbull says they're planning to take the petition door to door in Matora, as well as in the neighbouring towns of Wyndham, Edendale and Gore, and she's inviting others to sign the petition online.
If you haven't had the chance to sign it by going door to door, contact us because we want everyone to sign it. Thank you very much and thank you, Mark.
Almost 10,000 tonnes of waste from the Tiwai Point smelter has been stored on the site of the banks of the Matora River since 2014, and New Zealand First MP Mark Patterson wants to keep the issue in the public eye.
We must not let the pressure locally recede as the water has receded, because this has been a long, torturous process. It has taken 6 years, and as soon as it leaves the headlines, the danger is that it will still be there in 6 more or 2 more as it takes to get the current contract to work its way through.
The smelter dross can generate poisonous ammonia gas if it gets wet, such as during a flood. And Gore District Mayor Tracy Hicks told the protesters the smelter's owners have a moral responsibility to remove the waste.
Rio Tinto would argue that they don't have a legal responsibility. I'm sure that there will be counter-arguments to that come forward, but whether they have a legal responsibility or not, they've got a moral responsibility. They've got a moral responsibility as a corporate, a large corporate, in fact probably the largest corporate in our province, and we need to be sending them a message loud and clear.
Environment Minister David Parker is currently reviewing legal advice about the dross issue. In Matora, the South Today.
And in related news, Rio Tinto's subsidiary Pacific Aluminium has reported a net loss of $46 million for its interest in the Tiwai Point aluminium smelter for last year. The loss follows a $22 million profit for the previous year. The company says last year aluminium prices dropped by 15%. An electricity authority review has raised the prospect of about $25 million relief in transmission prices for the smelter. However, this prospect remains at a consultation stage. Meridian Energy's shares dropped almost 2% yesterday. For some, the term dream holiday conjures ideas of floating in a pool with cocktails to follow. But the latest holiday of Christchurch man Rob Hutchings involved a 240-kilometre swim of the Clutha River from Lake Wanaka to the Pacific Ocean.
Christchurch man Rob Hutchings becomes the first known person to swim the entire length of the Clutha River, reaching the river mouth 15 kilometres south of Balclutha yesterday. Setting off from Lake Wanaka on Thursday last week, the 240-kilometre swim took the 44-year-old just over 4.5 days to complete.
From Wanaka to the Pacific, it took 5 days, 4 days and about, I don't know if that was 2 or 3 hours. That was the most unbelievable adventure of my life.
The Canadian-born chiropractor was assisted the entire way by 2 kayakers, helping him navigate the rapids, sluggish lake water and occasional hidden rock. Almost a year in the planning, Hutchings struggled to find the words to sum up his achievement.
I'm overwhelmed. I wish I could say something that's really philosophical and inspiring, but I just would say to anybody who comes up with any kind of crazy idea is just, follow your heart and do what you love.
Hutchins' wife, Tansy Boggin, was also an integral part of the adventure, providing support and managing the swim from the riverbank.
Pretty determined man. He's got a passion for moving his body and nature and the water in particular, and exploring New Zealand. I think that's what he's really passionate about, and no better way than in the water.
After leaving the water yesterday, all Hutchins wanted to do was eat the biggest pizza he could find. In Balclutha, the South Today.
2 people have been injured in a fire in Dunedin this afternoon. Fire and emergency save crews were called to a small fire at a property on Park Street just after 1 p.m. A member of the public had extinguished the fire by the time 2 fire trucks from Dunedin Central and Willowbank arrived. It was too early to determine the cause of the fire. A St John's spokesman said 1 person was moderately injured and taken to Dunedin Hospital. The first phase of demolition to make way for Dunedin's new hospital is set to start next week. Health Minister David Clark says the government will live up to its promise to begin the earthworking phase by September's general election.
We're underway. Health Minister David Clark giving an assurance the Dunedin hospital build is progressing.
Effectively, we've met the promise of getting construction underway, getting earthworks, spending the money to get the building in place. So that phase is beginning now, probably a bit earlier than people expected, but we're underway.
Representatives from Te Runanga o Otako delivered the blessing and a karakia to acknowledge the history of the ground on which the former Cadbury factory stands. Dr Clark was asked by Kaumatua to pull out one of the weeds as a symbolic groundbreaking. Southern Partnership Group Chairman and former Dunedin North MP Pete Hodgson says they're still in some aspects of the planning phase, but the demolition phase can now begin.
After demolition comes ground detoxification, but only if necessary and only to the depth necessary, currently unknown. Then comes a bunch of groundworks. Then comes a raft or a pile or both for foundations, and then the building comes out of the ground, and that all of that will take a long period of time.
Ceres New Zealand have won the tender to take down the former factory buildings, which is thought to be one of the largest demolition projects ever in New Zealand. Ceres Operations Manager Swarup Gouda says the footpath will be closed off during the demolition phase, but both lanes of State Highway 1, as well as the cycle lanes on either side of the site, will remain open. Gouda also has good news for people wanting to work in the demolition industry.
The thing is, we are looking to employ some a workforce from Dunedin here. So if anyone wants to, is looking for a job and willing to work in demolition and asbestos removal industry, feel free to give us a ring.
The project had a $1.2 to $1.4 billion budget. However, as the projected costs have already passed that amount, Hodgson says they're yet to put an updated figure to the government. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. We have stunning aerial footage of the road to Milford Sound, and a woman has travelled halfway around the world to visit a 19th century hand warmer. See you after the break.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life. Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Nā mai anō, welcome back. Fire and Emergency New Zealand say rain over the weekend hasn't changed the fire danger levels across the country. Rural Fire Manager Tim Mitchell says there's still plenty of bone-dry vegetation around and the weekend's rain did little to dampen it down. Mitchell says warm and windy conditions have quickly dried the vegetation, meaning there's still a great deal of fuel for fires. Fire and Emergency New Zealand asks people to check the fire danger for their area, as many areas are in the prohibited fire season. Convoys of tourist buses and essential service vehicles moving to and from Milford Sound will continue this week. The road was closed from flood damage earlier this month. Tourist buses were allowed to join convoys of essential service vehicles on Friday. They've run every day since making 3 return journeys per day. The New Zealand Transport Agency says the convoys will continue this week so long as weather and road repairs permit. People who want to travel into the area are encouraged to catch tourism-operated buses from Te Anau or Queenstown. Repairs to the road are expected to cost millions of dollars. Some new slips will likely cause issues for several years. A well-travelled 100-year-old ladies' hand warmer, now on display in the Otago Museum, has been visited by a descendant of the original owner. Canadian donor Laurie Hardy travelled to Dunedin to see the rare 19th century emperor penguin skin muff. The item had earlier made the long journey home to Dunedin from North America.
Reunited with one of her family heirlooms, Canadian woman Laurie Hardy visits Otago Museum to warm her hands on a taonga which has been in her family for more than 100 years.
We wanted to come and see how it was doing because it had made its way from New Zealand to Sydney, Australia, within my family, and it came to Canada, and my sister and I wanted to return it to its birthplace.
A delighted Laurie Hardy took the chance to see the muff, which she and her late sister Maxine Goodman gave to the museum several years ago. She says she's often talked about returning the item to Otago, where it was made.
After all those many years, it's hundreds of years, 1880s, so we're just so pleased that it's been preserved and looked after and it's home.
She's also impressed at the fine condition of the fashion item, with the bird's yellow markings intact, which had been created about 1880. Otago Museum Humanities Curator Moira White says due to its flamboyant markings, the penguin was made into this well-travelled muff.
I'm assuming it was made into a muff partly because it was this kind of a penguin with that blaze of yellow on it. There wasn't much yellow on or in dress at this stage, so this would have been quite kind of exotic.
Laurie Hardy and her husband are making a 3-week visit to the South Island and are pleased to learn more about the historic fashion item. White says the muff was made by an early Dunedin furrier.
By the firm of J. Constantine, He seemed to be a farrier who specialised partly in feathers. He did taxidermy, for example, of birds and animals.
Hardy is pleased White took the time to research the moth's history and was able to share more of its tale with her. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, another historic Dunedin church is demolished for safety reasons, and we have a look at the weather. See you soon.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Lana Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Thanks for staying with us. A Presbyterian church in South Dunedin was reduced to rubble yesterday. Other historic churches in Dunedin await similar fates. It took a day to demolish the St James Church in South Dunedin's King Edward Street, which had stood since 1890. Contractors say completely clearing the debris will take a few more days. The Presbyterian church says the building didn't meet earthquake requirements, and the decision to demolish it was a matter of safety. An ornate stained glass window was removed before demolition and will be used in a new chapel on the same site. A church spokesperson says the cost to make the old building earthquake-proof was too much and the final product wouldn't be worth it. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Many angry locals gathered in Matoda to sign a petition asking to remove a hazardous substance from their town. A Christchurch man is celebrating after clocking up an impressive swimming achievement along the Great Southern River. And the first phase of demolition to make way for Dunedin's new hospital is set to start next week after the ground was blessed today. And now to look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we have Stu Oldham with us tonight. Kia ora, Stu.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Good. Well, we're all about the demolition as you were today. Right. 50,000 tonnes of waste from that factory is going to be knocked out to make way for the new hospital. Now, I imagine if, like me, you wondered how much 50,000 tonnes was, well, I can help you out there. It's the same as about 9,300 Asian elephants, which it is a lot, which have stood trunk to tail with stretched from South Dunedin to Palmerston. And for those elephant buffs out there, I know there are a lot of them in Dunedin. That means that the waste being removed from the Cadbury factory is about the equivalent weight of 5.4% of the world's population of those elephants. Don't worry, my notepad stuff won't go into the paper tomorrow, but it's worth knowing, isn't it? We're also speaking to the widow of a Brazilian man who died beside the Waiau River on the weekend. It's a terribly sad story of teenage sweethearts who have been married for more than 20 years who made their way to New Zealand to enjoy a new life. Invercargill's Brazilian Day was cancelled because the fellow was, as a mark of respect for him, he was a very active member of that community, and friends are fundraising right now to try and get his body back to his homeland. We're also visiting one of Otago's most successful lotto shops to find out what the mood's like ahead of tomorrow's ridiculously large lotto draw. Sadly, an Otago academic tells us too that there's an increased likelihood the prize will go to more than one person, which is frankly disappointing for people like me who have yet to win the big one, believe it or not. And we're also looking at the ongoing saga of the Wanaka and Queenstown airports, what the future is, whether or not we're looking at another big international airport out there or whether the bickering will continue.
Great, Stu. Thanks very much. Now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Starting with the southern view, looking up at the underside of an awning on Stewart Street, which is missing its covering. Now looking at the situation, a mild and northwesterly airflow will increase tomorrow as a cold front approaches from the South Tasman Sea. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport are looking at cloudy skies and 22 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim can expect a cloud or two as well and 24 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura can expect the odd cloud and 22 degrees. Christchurch should prepare for similar conditions and 21, while Ashburton can expect grey skies and 26 degrees. To the southern towns, those in Catlins, Balclutha and Gore can all expect freshening northwesterlies, cloud increasing and 19 degrees. Lumsden is looking at late rain and 20. Heading to central Otago, most centres in this area are due for moderate northerlies and some high cloud. Wanaka and Queenstown 25, Alexandra 28 degrees. Tiano, you have fresh northwesterlies, rain and 18 degrees. To the northern towns, on the coast, Timaru and Oamaru are due to have light northeasterlies, clear skies and 20. Looking inland, Twizel and Omarama are due for light winds, fine, and it's 27 degrees for you. In Dunedin, mostly cloudy tonight with northeasterlies and an overnight low of 12 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow too with a few sunny periods at times. Moderate northeasterlies at first, becoming breezy in the afternoon. A high of 18 and a low of 13. Mild on Thursday with high cloud increasing. Cooler southwesterlies and some low cloud from mid-afternoon. A high of 21 and a low of 11. And in Invercargill. Cloudy tonight with northerlies and an overnight low of 11. High cloud increasing and lowering tomorrow with some showers developing later in the day. Freshening northwesterlies and a high of 18 with a low of 13. Some rain at first on Thursday with gusty northwesterlies, but showers and colder southwesterlies developing from the middle of the day. A high of 18 and a low of 10. That's the news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.